the imposition of travel bans on South Africa and a number of countries from Southern Africa are regrettable, unfair, and unscientific.
South Africa's president is calling on nations to drop travel bans imposed against many African countries, and he's not alone. Both the United Nations and the World Health Organization have condemned the measure. Canada is among those countries that's banned travelers from 10 African nations, these ones over fears of the new Omicron variant. It was first identified in South Africa, but it's now been detected in at least 27 countries, including right here in Canada and the U.S. The Canadian government says the travel bans are buying time for this country to learn more about the new strain. Sibongiseni Dlamini-Mntambo is South Africa's High Commissioner to Canada, and she's in Ottawa. Hi, Commissioner Dlamini-Mntambo. Very good to have you on the program. I want to certainly talk about what we're calling in this country travel bans, but perhaps I could begin just because of the very sophisticated surveillance system that exists in South Africa about what doctors and scientists back home are telling you and your government about this new variant.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to your show. Let me first confirm what you are saying. South Africa, we have a very sophisticated medical research capabilities. And these were honed during the unfortunate HIV/AIDS era. And now they are proving to be extremely useful during this COVID-19 pandemic. The latest news from home is that indeed there has been a sharp increase in new infections since the detection of the new variant, the Omicron. According to the information that I've received from home, is that it is not yet known how many of these new cases can be attributed to this new variant, the Omicron. The infection rate today, for instance, I learned that it is just above 10,000. But let me also hasten to point out that about 2-3 weeks back, some of the countries in Europe were already concerned about the spiraling new cases of COVID-19. For instance, on Wednesday, the 2nd of December, France reported close to about 50,000 new cases, and Spain reported nearly 100,000 new cases in 2 weeks. Austria issued lockdown in November 24, and this 22. This is just before South Africa reported the detection of the new variant. And yesterday alone, Germany reported more than 67,000 new cases in 24 hours. Now, South Africa today, like I'm saying, we are just above 10,000 new cases. So where am I going with this?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, exactly.
Where am I go after you ask this question? Could it be possible that this variant was already in these countries before South Africa reported or dictated this variant?
And the answer to that is it is entirely possible that just because it was detected in your country first doesn't mean that that's where its origin story was.
That's where it originated.
Yeah, and there is some indication from some European labs now going backwards and looking at some positive test results. They're finding Omicron, for instance, in test dates that preceded the official detection in South Africa. But I take your point that it may well have been in another country, and that South Africa has done its duty to the world in saying, look, this is what we found. And yet South Africa is also, from a number of countries, being put on these travel ban lists. And I know your president has criticized those lists. Do you understand the perspective of countries that have done it when they use defenses, and this is, I'm going to use the defenses that the Canadian government has used, that South Africa and other countries on that list may have lower vaccination rates, may have less vaccine available, and not in the case of South Africa, may have lower surveillance capacity. Do you understand where some governments are coming from when they use that kind of language, or is that problematic to you?
That is very problematic to me. Let me be open and frank on this one. I think considerable and deliberate insensitivity is evident in some of the reporting of the latest variant detected in South Africa. The supposition, like you indicated before, the supposition was quickly and repeatedly made that this variant, with its numerous mutations to the spike protein, originated in South Africa without any evidence. I mean, the same variant now today, we know it's been identified in Hong Kong, in Israel, in Germany, in Australia, in Belgium, in the UK, just to name a few. Actually, it's been now identified. It's in more than 24 countries, as we know.
27, I think, now, yes.
Yes, quite a number of countries. But these countries either did not report the findings or were unaware of the new variant. So they have escaped being blamed for the variant. They haven't been banned. Now, indeed, South Africa, we are shocked. We are shocked by the unfortunate response by some countries in Europe, and of course here in Canada. In detecting and reporting the variant, South Africa displayed the highest level of transparency and integrity. But we are now being chastised for doing the right thing.
So, High Commissioner, let me jump in on you, just because the Canadian government, one of the things that it has said is that it is essentially trying to buy time to understand this very new variant, to understand its transmissibility, to understand whether it is more harmful, the potential to cause worse health outcomes for people. These are things we don't know right now. And so the idea of a travel ban was to buy time. And if that is, I was just going to say, if that's the argument, then, do you accept that argument? And even if you don't, would you like to see the ban in a very short form of time?
The travel ban should be extended to other countries as well. Why is it only Africa? Yeah. Why is it only South Africa and its neighboring countries? And what is worse is that the neighboring countries, most of them, which are in this travel ban, have not reported any finding of this latest variant.
So let me go back to you with that logic. Like, should South Africa ban Canada because we've detected Omicron in this country?
What I'm asking is why the other 24 countries have not been banned.
But Canada is one of those countries.
That way.
Yeah.
You have the answer. Does it make sense? What is the scientific basis for banning? Because the World Health Organization has advised that these travel bans, they have no scientific basis. They have indicated that it's just a knee-jerk response. So why are we continuing with it? We should do what we have been doing before: social distance, wear masks, everything that we have been doing until we know what this virus, this variant has in store for us, until we know if it's very dangerous. All we know right now is that it's it's transmittable quick.
Very easily. Can I just shift gears very briefly with you, High Commissioner, and ask about vaccination? So slightly under 25% of South Africa's population has been fully vaccinated at this point. Canada and a number of other countries have donated vaccines to other countries, and there's a debate about whether that's been enough. What does South Africa need? Because there is also quite a bit of reticence among the South African population to be vaccinated. What does South Africa need from other nations in the world in order to assist getting those vaccination numbers higher?
Look, we have come up now with the terms. You should be aware. There are countries that are vaccine hoarding. There is vaccine apartheid. There is vaccine inequity. All of those terms are because there are no vaccines in Africa, and that is a fact. South Africa, we have currently, our statistics, it's about 24% that are fully vaccinated. And if we do not vaccinate, right now, I think the whole world, we are in a serious crisis. And this is the time where I would really like to see collaboration. This is the time, this is beyond families, it's beyond business, it's beyond communities. And we need to come together like we came together at the beginning to say, together, we must find ways of addressing this that is in front of us now. So what I would like to see is that we do not, for instance, punish honesty like we are doing with South Africa. Mm-hmm. Instead, let's continue working together to try and find ways of addressing the issues about the shortages of vaccines. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, there have been talk about maybe South Africa not vaccinating enough, but that's not the truth. We don't have enough vaccines. That's a fact. Number two, when people are not vaccinating, it doesn't mean that the whole country is refusing to vaccinate. For instance, here in Canada, we have seen demonstrations of people who do not want to vaccinate, the anti-vaxxers. Mm-hmm. We cannot therefore say the whole of Canada doesn't want to vaccinate. But truth be told, less than 7% of Africa has vaccinated. Why? Because the West has been hoarding the vaccines.
All right. High Commissioner. I apologize for cutting you off, High Commissioner. We're just out of time for our discussion here. But I think you're raising important points around vaccine equity and access, not just for South Africa, but for the entire African continent to vaccines that are being, I'll use your word there, hoarded by Western rich countries. Thank you so much, High Commissioner, for your time. We certainly appreciate your expertise.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.